What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Chasing Daylight podcast. Typically, this time of the year, we do a Masters episode and talk all about the Masters and everything that's involved with that. Who knows? We may get into some of that. We have the azaleas going on in the background for those of you watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in there. Already got a lot of people hopping on. That's great. We are live on Instagram. We are live on YouTube. We are live on X. I brought X back in the fold this week just to see if we can maybe get some more engagement going on. A lot of people were expecting to tune into this one because we have a very special guest with us this evening, Mr. Sam Hahn from l.a.b Golf. Thank you, sir, so much for joining us this week.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
So a little bit of chaos took place. Let me put this up here real quick. So the giver has not been announced yet, just so because I'm sure 100 people are going to be asking about that. A little bit of controversy took place, and I got
Is that
a
what we're
message.
calling it? We're calling it controversy?
Well,
You dick.
what would you call it?
Sorry, go on.
So everybody knows by now I made a post and it got a lot of views and it's still getting a lot of views. And we found out that the Facebook group from l.a.b Golf found the video last night. So now the Facebook side of it is going nuts. But, there was a lot of comments, a lot of ridiculousness, a lot of really good stuff. And in the end, Sam reached out and said, we need to get on the phone. And we had what I thought personally was a fantastic conversation. I wasn't expecting it. I thought you were trying to get a hold of me with a cease and desist and telling me to pull the video down, and that's what I was expecting. So when you
My
started,
name's not Chip Brewer.
so when you yeah, early too. When you started the conversation and we're like, hey, come on, let's chat and find out what's going on. It was very appealing to me because one, you didn't have to do that. Two, you could have just let it go and been done with it. But I think that conversation found out that we both had a lot more in common than we thought we did. And it led to this, Sam wasn't aware we had a podcast, so I told him about it. He said, hell, let's get on and let's talk about your company. So I know most of the people that are tuning in, watching this, know who you are, but let's get a little bit of backstory on how you got involved with l.a.b and got to the point where you are now.
Yeah. And before I get to that, I just want, just regarding what you just said turns out we had a lot more in common than we thought we did. It's one of the frustrating things about sort of the social media golf environment is that like we all have so much in common,
True.
Or not even so much in common. We have the one thing that matters in common, which is that we fucking love golf, and
Yes.
I get rubbed the wrong way a lot of times when I see some of the posts and some of the shit people talk about our stuff. But I do my best to try and remember that, like, in a different world, I probably would have been one of those guys talking shit about l.a.b golf, so I get it, I get how this happens, and I was just really excited that you were down to talk because I'll tell you just a very quick story. When Bill and I first partnered up, the inventor of the technology is a guy named Bill Pressey, and I'll get to how I met him in a second. But total genius, and came up with this in a trailer, and we partnered up, but we had no money, and so the only opportunity that we had to promote our stuff was in Facebook groups and different golf blogs and stuff like that. And there was this one dude that was just relentless about giving us crap. His name's Brett Douglas. They call him the Birdman. And it was the same kind of thing as this. And not that, you'll end up being a l.a.b user like he did, but I mean, he was just relentless. Finally, we ended up talking. He ended up getting a putter and talked it through. And, when he online flipped on his, view of l.a.b, it was like our first, big sales day, and by big I mean we sold like 5 putters. I'm like, whoa! And we totally understand the merit of not reacting, quite so intensely when people throw some shade, and instead just having fun conversations. Because if you have the conversation, generally you end up learning something on both sides.
Absolutely.
So yeah, my backstory. I was in the bar and music business, and actually, as your intro was playing there, and heard the guitar tuning up, I was like, that's a sound I've heard 1,000 too many different garages. But I was a golf nut because I had plenty of time during the day to play golf. Pretty good player. I wasn't when I was young or anything like that. I was a very, very late bloomer. I was, I think when I was 22, when I first started playing out here in Oregon, I had a hard time breaking 90. And then when I met a couple of guys that were really good players and that I liked hanging out with, and that's, as you guys know, that's how you get good, just playing with good players. And I was a scratch player about 2 years later, and then, just a total freaking equipment nut. I just thought equipment was the coolest stuff, and I loved, screwing around with everything, particularly with the putters. And then fast forward 15 years, I met the instructor at Emerald Valley, which it sounds like a couple of you guys have played. There's a guy named Bob Duncan, and he had come across the directed force Reno putter in Australia on a vacation, and he told me I had to try it. I, like most of you, blew snot out my nose when I saw it and thought it was absurd looking, and told him no way. And just out of respect for him, I was like, okay, dude, I'll give it 9 holes. And I had a crazy experience with it, and bought the putter on the spot. Had some struggles with it early, and then once I kind of went through my journey and how to sort of unlock the technology, crazy shit happened. I was a 1 when I started with that putter, and then I was like a +3.5 about 6 weeks later. It was the best golf I ever played in my entire life. And then the head fell off the putter. So when the head fell off, I had to send it back. And Bill was, great, and called me up and, apologized and told me to get it all squared away. And we just got to talking, and we were kindred golf spirits. So we got to talking, and then wouldn't have been more than a month or 2 after that Directed Force, which was the name of the company at the time, was about to, they couldn't get it going and about to close the doors. And so I partnered up with Bill, and we rebranded as l.a.b, and that was
the rest is history.
The rest is history.
So one of the parts of the conversation that we had that I thought was really interesting, and it was something that I never heard, and it really like showcased what you guys have been able to do. We were talking about what happened with carbon putters, where My Golf Spy rated them the best putter, and they blew up, couldn't meet productions, and shut down. And you were telling me about what happened with Seymour. And then you told me about Adam Scott missing a putt at Augusta.
Best thing that ever happened to us.
And the best thing that ever happened to you. And I was like, what? So tell everybody what that was.
So l.a.b was officially rebranded in 2018. We got on tour in a pretty remarkable way, actually. We got another just incredible lucky break. A Kiwi by the name of Tim Wilkinson picked up the putter, a lefty. He's a lefty, and there happened to be a lefty putter at some random tournament he was playing, I think in Utah or something like that. And you can't get a credential unless you've had some plays. And we called up to get a credential, and they're like, well, you need somebody to invite you, or you need to have had plays. I'm like, well, we don't have anybody. They're like, what's the name of the company? It's like, actually, you've had 10 plays. So we got a tour credential, got out on tour, and had a little bit of success here and there. We got, had a really cool experience with Vaughn Taylor, but nothing, no major players were really taking a look. Then Kelly Slater, the surfer, had bought the putter at a pro shop, and then Kelly ended up playing with, and we got in touch with him, and then Kelly ended up getting paired with him with Adam Scott at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am in 2019, and Kelly outputted everybody, including, I think it was Pat Cantlay and Adam in that group, and like, dude was just filling it up. And so I got a call the next week from Adam Scott, and And it was like out of a movie. I literally thought somebody was fucking with me, and I was like, okay, who is this really?
Sure,
and it was
you
Adam.
are.
And it was Adam. He told me to meet him in the locker room. I met him, and just awesome dude. I mean, he's just twice as awesome as you would imagine from hearing him talk in the press rooms and stuff. Just a delightful human being, and fit him for a putter. He didn't use it that week, but put it in play the following week, which was the Honda at the time, and then the Players, and then a few other tournaments in the Florida swing, and he was putting really well. Took it to the Masters, and bear in mind, this was the short one. This was not a sweeper. This was a conventional length directed force. The original OG branding iron.
Wow.
In red nonetheless. And so you could see this thing from two fairways over, and dude was leading the Masters through 2 days in 2019. And and look, I knew nothing about the golf business. When I got into this, I knew nothing about the equipment industry or anything, and my just stupid idea was panning out exactly as I had foolishly thought. Like, yeah, we'll just get out on tour. Somebody great will get it. They'll make a bunch of putts. One of the big
Sell a
companies
million
will call
putters.
and write us a big check, and we'll be on our way. And so he's leading the Masters, and all of a sudden it's happening. The phone's ringing off the hook, and orders are coming in, and it's all crazy. And we're starting to panic a little bit because we don't have enough putters, we don't have enough head covers, we don't have enough grips, we don't have enough anything. And then on Saturday, I putted pretty poorly, but was still close enough to the leaderboard. The cameras were on him, and he ended up missing like an 18-inch putt on the 16th hole, and the phone stopped ringing. And they showed this putt like over and over and over and over again. I'm like, thank God. I had to turn off the TV, and I'm just like devastated. But as I look back on it now, like if he'd have gone on to win, we'd have suffered the same fate as many, many companies. Scaling a business, you just can't imagine how difficult it is. Even if you're deliberate about it, even if you have, the right sequencing of growth and all that stuff. I mean, I look back on our journey from where we were, certainly then, but even where we were, 3 years ago to where we are now. Like many, many companies haven't been able to make that jump into being able to produce thousands of clubs every month. And because it's a whole different thing. You start a company with a certain process and a certain, manufacturing protocol and certain components and, certain vendors that are helping you get all this stuff. But, especially at the time we make everything in America. Like nobody was prepared to, have our volume triple, then triple again, then quadruple again, and, and on and on. And so we got a lot of
Stop.
That's what's so interesting, right? Like I make like my own t-shirts, right? Like, and it's just like, do I order 50 or 25? Right. And it's just like, it's not going to hurt me financially, right? But it's like, I don't want to be stuck with them.
No, you don't want to be stuck with them. And
but if somebody comes up with like 100 order, like I don't have them for you, and
you don't have them, and then you're calling up a vendor, and the vendor wants the business but can't say no, and then they end up screwing you because they overpromised, and
then they're waiting. You're waiting, and like I totally get it. Get it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, so we got Joe. There's a couple questions coming in through IG.
I got them written down. I think we just do Q&A at the end, and we just go, and then I'm writing everything down. So
okay,
yeah. When are we going to talk about the fucking bullshit that you pulled on Instagram on
us? Hey, call them out. I love it.
Fire away. Oh, that
one of my favorite things was people were calling him an angry old man, and he's my golf buddy, but like I call him dad as well. We call him dad because he is older than us.
So why does your AI like caricature look like a baby then?
Because I have to do it 16 times to get it the way I want it.
Greatest podcast ever. This is the greatest podcast ever.
I want to know what you should probably show the people what the original caricature of me was like. Dude, did you just like type in like neurotic with glasses and like that's what
I can find it. Hang on a second.
Big Matt did say play the video if you didn't see that. Yeah.
Let's see.
I don't think Sam wants to see that anymore.
It's like I shared it with all my friends, and apparently it's everybody's profile picture for me now.
No, when Matt started going, it was like I mean, it was just he didn't even plan on it.
Oh my
That was
God.
the original.
All strung out.
Oh, that's so. Oh, good heavens! AI, man, AI, it'll get you.
It'll get
If
you.
you're not prepared, it'll get you.
Anyway.
So what were you saying, Joe?
I think I mean when Matt posted that video, I thought it was I mean, he didn't mean for it to go that way, right? Like he didn't think it was going to blow up. And that's just Matt being the nerd golfer that he is. And I was just like, wow, that's really like that just happened spontaneously. And I told him I thought it was brilliant. You know, I was like, wow, I wouldn't have never thought about posting that video. And yeah, it was just crazy that it took off. And it's
I realized it was
it
was a big learning experience for us for a couple of reasons. Number one, I realized that if I comment on something, I'm still used to having 6,000 followers instead of 140,000. If I comment on something, it ends up in everybody's feed. So lesson learned.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, man. I mean, I think a lot of why l.a.b came to be is because I do look at social media every night, and every single night I ask myself, why the hell am I doing this? Because it's just, it's frustrating. And
well, it's the world we live in now, unfortunately.
It's the world we live in.
It is the world.
And for the longest time, up until really the last kind of 2 years, it was manageable. Like there was I could have conversations with people. I had the time to actually address almost every thread or every comment or, whatever it was. Now it's almost impossible to do that, but I try to the extent possible, but for whatever reason, that one caught me, at just the right time and, at night. And I fired back and, so it was important for me to understand, that we ought to be a little bit more careful with what I comment on if I don't want to post to get a particular amount of attention. But what a lot of the success that we've had is because I think more than a lot of other companies out there, we listen to the consumer. And while, I thought your video was stupid, and
a lot of people did, but
oversimplified the message a little bit. But what I did see, not only was your original sentiment, but any number of people who agreed with you, and
that's right.
And like, the revealer, I would not have bought the company if the revealer didn't exist, because it's just such an easy explanation. If the general consumer sees numbers or data or whatever, and they scroll right past. They see some dude saying, "This one's going to change your game," and they scroll right past. Like it's just such a simple explainer, and so and I get the fatigue, I understand the frustration, like for people like you guys who I'm sure have seen the revealer videos for 7 straight years now. And I get it. I get that it's tedious. I understand the sentiment of like, well, we don't putt with the revealer. I understand all of it. But at the end of the day, we have a technology that does separate itself from, not including the last 6 months, that was different than anything that that anybody had ever done, and we needed a way to explain it, and it works. And there's an important piece I want people to know about the revealer. The revealer came first. Like a lot of times the comments are like, why do we care about a device that somebody invented just to promote their own product? The revealer is what gave birth to Reliable Balance, not the other way around. When Bill was trying to figure the technology out, he sort of like picked up a putter and noticed that it just flopped. And he's like, well, that ain't right. Do all putters just flop? So he made a revealer out of a crutch with some fishing wire and started hanging putters in there to figure out what putters sat square, and none of them did. And that's what he used to start to develop the technology. So it's not as though this was some device retroactively created to make us look good. It was the device that was used to create what is, whether it works for you or not, is profound and different technology than anything that had come prior, including other toe-up models that, other people say, well, this putter was first or this putter was first. Nobody actually did to the full extent what Bill invented with this technology. And so, but anyway, your post inspired, we have a large marketing team, and we've, some people internally, a bunch of marketing firms that we work with. We have
bet I'm their fanboys right now, huh?
What's that?
I said, I bet I'm number one on their list right now.
Well, it inspired a lot of conversation about revealer fatigue and how do we, like the world knows now, like for the most part, not everybody, but a lot of people have seen it. What can we talk about, differently about the tech? How can we help people understand the purpose of the revealer, what else the revealer is doing other than just marketing our product? And so, to that extent, I thank you guys. I mean, and I thank everyone on social media that's giving us shit. I sort through the vitriol and try to find the nuggets of, that help me understand what the consumer is thinking.
You gotta dig for them.
Yeah.
I believe,
and that's what's fantastic about your brand. You are taking the feedback and trying to make it better. And 100%. A lot of people don't do that. TaylorMade's not listening to their customers like you. Like, I'm not going to say the C word, but there's a company man on the call, but there's other brands that are not going to take the feedback as well as you and try and implement it into their brand as well as as well as you're taking it, right? You take it as we can make it better because of the feedback. And that's
100% because we're listening. And I'm no different than the people that founded all the companies that you're talking about. And I think that there's just simply a different mentality
totally
when you're a founder versus when you're, 3-4 generations removed from the core values that made the brand what it is. I'm now, dealing with
P&Ls.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah,
I know,
but just the mass demand. Definitely, I understand how people end up where they do. I understand how brands end up, frankly, resenting their customers. I understand
absolutely
how brands end up taking the easy way out. I see that decision. We're not making it. We still make the good decision, and it's not that hard to make the good decision and to make the decision that is, consumer positive. But I get it, and yeah, I mean, we absolutely listen, and my personal sensitivity is like, internally fucking sucks. I'm an anxious wreck all the time, but it serves the brand really well because like I hate when people don't like our stuff. I hate when we're misunderstood. I hate when people are, speaking things that aren't true. And so, social media has, provided an opportunity for me to be a sensitive little bitch and actually, engage with a lot of the folks that have the opinions that they do.
Yeah, you got snarky with me. I was like, wow, okay, let's do this, and I was because it was funny because it took a like. That meme where the guy gets caught looking at the girl and his wife sees him and he just drives off the cliff. It took a right turn really fast. And I was like,
real
whoa.
quick.
I was like, whoa. I said, okay, hang on a second. And then you're like, hey, I'm sorry, that wasn't cool. Let's have a conversation. So but what a lot of people, this is the sad part about social media is, you didn't know any of my backstory. None of it. And when we talked and you learned a lot about my backstory, it's like, okay, you're not just an idiot on Instagram. Well, I mean, I am sometimes, but you're not just an idiot on Instagram that doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about. You have some actual input in this. Sure. And, I never said in that video that you shouldn't play a l.a.b putter. I didn't say the l.a.b putters suck. I didn't say it's not going to help your game. My beef with it is the revealer, and my beef is not with your putter in the revealer. It's with other putters being showcased in the revealer.
Totally.
And that is what was the metamorphosis of that video was I got hit with an ad from Club Champion, and it just like it was. I was on the putting green. I took a break to scroll through some Instagram, and I saw it, and it's like the world came together and went, "Go make this video," And so I just, and that's what it was. I didn't sit down and plot it out. I didn't script it. I grabbed my phone, putted one-handed, and just was having some fun with it, because I was like, okay, enough of everybody else's putter spinning around in a revealer, because I'm pretty sure, based on my knowledge of putters and putter manufacturers, I don't think any of those guys care what their putters are doing in your revealer. I just don't.
The other manufacturers?
Yeah. I mean,
they
I
certainly
think
care. That's why they're making ones that work in the revealer.
but they're making a different putter, not the ones that are in the revealer. You know, Scotty Cameron and his Newport 1.5, I don't think he gives a rat's ass what his putter does in the revealer, because
I don't either.
It has no bearing
I mean, I can tell you that I'm not trying to flex, but I know for a fact that
no.
You know, I know internally there was a couple people on his staff who actually told him 5 years ago when they showed him the lab that this was going to be a problem, and he said, no, it's not, don't worry about it. And now, as you see, you know, they've got a zero torque or toe up, you know, version of their Phantom. I just saw a toe up version of the fastback that they're making. I have no idea if they'll go to market, but I think they care. And I think that, you know, this is one of the things that you and I talked about on the thread, and one of the purposes of the revealer, one of the things that the revealer has done that I wish, there's times where I wish I wasn't attached to the company so that I could, you know, kind of more have what I talk about be received in more of an unbiased way. But like the biggest revelation to me about the revealer, like the first time I saw it and the first time Bob showed me, you know, what it did and what, you know, l.a.b, or at the time a directed force putter, did versus other putters, I was kind of like, you know, okay, whatever. The thing that actually blew my mind personally with the demonstration was the off-center strikes in the revealer, and then I was like, whoa, that's impressive. But then the more time I spent with the revealer, with other putters, not with ours, that's where my education and understanding and all of the light bulbs and all of the questions that I could never answer about my journey with other putters actually began, starting with toe hang. So I knew from my own personal experience that my strokes with the shallowest arc and the smallest face to path ratio took place with a toe hang putter, like 8802s, like full toe hang putters. And then as soon as I grabbed a face balance putter, which was supposed to, at least according to the narrative that all fitters use as far as how a putter should be fit and what it's supposed to do for stroke types or whatever, did the exact opposite. That's when I started gating, and, you know, the path got all fucked up and whatever. So the narrative that I was told was supposed to be happening around toe flow just didn't check out. And then when I saw a revealer, I understood why. The toe flow putter actually shuts in the takeaway, and then it opens in transition. It's going heel first in each direction. Now, I'm sure this could have been explained to me by somebody who knew more, but I went to Adele fittings multiple times. I went to, you know, different fancy fitters and all the stuff, and they would, you know, see me with my putter, see that it had some depth of arc, and at the time if the arc was shallow, they'd hand me this putter or that putter or whatever, and there was no relationship between the way that I was stroking the putter and the torque profile that they were handing me. And the revealer shows you why. It shows you that this narrative that nobody bothered to test, why it doesn't work as well as the algorithms that different fitting, you know, platforms would have you believe that it does. And if you think about it, it's not different than TrackMan. Like, Matt, when you grew up, you know, I'm sure that you were told in order to hit a fade, you aim the club face at the target and aim your body a little left of it. And, you know, the ball over and over again started at your target and faded away from it rather than starting left of it and, you know, going over. It wasn't until we saw on TrackMan that actually the face is shut relative to the target in order to produce a fade that we actually knew the rules. It's kind of that same thing where we just have information that we didn't have. I'm not saying anybody was trying to fool anybody. I think that people thought that they knew
misunderstood.
Yeah, totally. So the revealer is very impressive in that regard, and it really helps open up a lot of eyes as far as what torque profiles do. We're excited soon to be introducing a torque meter where we can actually measure it with a numeric value as far as how much torque in either direction, in the takeaway and in the change of direction and all that stuff. And I think that'll help some folks.
That will.
But yeah, the revealer has a lot of good purposes beyond just marketing our kick-ass putters.
Hey, shout out the Greg Norman book, How to Hit a Golf Shot. I got it in the bathroom right now. He said exactly what Sam said, and
right.
I guess
in the face
he was
of the
wrong. But I would like to go back to where you said that they care about the revealer. I'm curious, do you think they care about the revealer, or do you think that they care how hot l.a.b is because of the use of the revealer?
I mean, a little of both. I mean, I know a little of both. I mean, where the industry is unfortunately very small and incestuous and weird, and everybody talks, and so I know what know to some extent what's going on in these R&D rooms.
I mean, you made it hot.
What's that?
I mean, you made it hot. It's the Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's no question but that they're responding to market share reports and
exactly
the amount of stuff that we're taking up. But you got to give these guys a little credit. Like, they don't just respond to market share reports. Like the tour. And the market, and this is one of the points I made to you that, I make all the time around the revealer and the marketing in general. Like, if you have really good marketing, you can do really good marketing with a product that doesn't work. You can do one run. That's what infomercials are. That's what, that look really good. If you explain the technology without having to validate it, you can
set it and forget it. Shout out Ron Popeil,
They do. They do one run. They sell 1 million of them, and you never hear from them again because everybody buys the thing and realizes it's garbage and it doesn't work. You cannot market your way to where we've gotten to. The product has to work. Like, there has to be enough people out there playing with their friends saying, "I'm putting better with this l.a.b." Otherwise, you could do all the marketing in the world, and it ain't gonna get you to the market share that we've got. So it's a double. I think they're seeing that the tech works. B, they're responding to some market share stuff. I remember early on, I wish I could name him, but out of respect for him, I won't. But tour rep that worked for one of the 3 biggest manufacturers in the world. One of my first weeks out on tour, grabbed it, called the head of R&D and said, "We have a problem. Like, this thing's a problem. It's going to be an issue because this thing really works." And they're one of the companies that have issued put out a competitive product here. And so it's both. They're responding to the market. I think that they were hoping that it didn't take off so that they wouldn't have to respond. And that's one of the really sad things I've learned about the industry, is the number of technologies that are acquired by these companies and then put in a drawer. There's so much cool shit out there. There are so many great inventions that JP simply wedges. To not have. What's that?
JP Wedges. Titleist.
Great
example. In the closet.
Absolutely. And there's tons. I mean, tons of really awesome stuff that will never see the light of day because these companies bought the IP just to put it in the drawer, just so that they wouldn't have to work too much harder and divert too much from what they already do. I think there's probably a few companies that are kicking themselves that they didn't do that with us, because they certainly all had the opportunity. And I think they just thought it wasn't going to take. And it did.
And it did. And it's going right now. So here, this is kind of off topic, but our buddy Chris Torres wants to know what wine are you sipping on?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not even that much of a wine guy. I was
shout out the world famous.
I was having a shitty day, and I was like, Jesus, I have to do a podcast right now. Maybe it is time for Paul. So,
Spring Valley.
Spring Valley. She looks like a nice lady.
Yeah. The Willamette wine country is amazing. So
the Willamette wine is real. I'm gonna actually have another glass.
Best Pinots in the world, in my opinion.
So I'm told.
Okay. Joe, did you want to get into some Q&As now, or you got Jeremy? You've been quiet. I'm sure you have a question.
Oh,
Jeremy
Jeremy
and
definitely
Dan,
has
you
a
guys have both
question.
been very quiet. It's honestly a little creepy.
They're usually pretty quiet.
Joe and I are the talkers.
Yeah.
We needed to force them, so we found two good handicaps to help us in scramble
You guys
events.
look like enforcers. I can't tell. Are you guys big? You guys both look kind of like little.
They're our
goats.
security. We're too famous on.
You guys look like security.
Yeah. No, I do have a question. Has Jordan Spieth reached out to you about getting a lab putter?
I knew it.
No, he has not reached out, and in fact, and I'm certain that that'll never happen because I completely fucking blew it with Cameron McCormick. Cameron, I met him. He's a nice guy and very, very hard worker, and he was working with Jimmy Walker, who was using our stuff kind of off and on for a while, and the relationship with him and Jimmy was pretty short-lived. I had been working with Jimmy for a year and a half before he started working with Cameron, and then again, actually at the Honda, he got into one of our putters, and I mean, it was a catastrophe. I think he lost like 5 shots in a round to the field putting. And I'm looking at these videos, and I knew that he'd been working with Cameron on the stroke a little bit, and so I texted Cam, and I was just like, "Looks like he's crowding the ball, and I don't know. I mean, we got to." And he was, basically just like, "Who the fuck are you? Like, fuck off." And so, my guess is he would much sooner be grabbing, if he was interested in the technology. I imagine he'd probably be grabbing it from Cameron or somebody else.
Yeah, Jeremy, we have a bet with Jeremy that if he has to get a lab putter if Jordan Spieth puts one in his bag, so he's more looking out for himself with that question than anything else.
For sure, definitely.
You're good.
Not
You're
saying
good.
I wouldn't get a lab putter, but
Jeremy is
how funny is like his whole journey with
guys.
putters, like where people are, I understand I used to intentionally just ride honeymoons with my putting. That I would switch putters every round, even if I'd putted well the round before, just because I believed in the power of a honeymoon. And look at what he's doing. I mean, I saw that last WRX post. He's got 15 of the exact same fucking putter. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Dan, you got anything?
I'm just curious on if you have any plans or anything like that with R&D right now on maybe experimenting with different metals like carbon steels or different metal type inserts or anything like that in the future.
For sure. Yeah, the insert thing for sure. Carbon, I love carbon.
I'm a carbon steel freak.
The best.
So.
It's the best.
I mean, the link that I have that I use every once in a while is carbon, and the problem with carbon is that it rusts, and there are certainly certain customers. We were actually just talking about this. We were considering doing a direct to consumer only carbon release so that we could handle the customer service about it, because that's the biggest issue. If people are buying carbon off the rack at Superstore, they don't read the stickers, they don't read the stuff, and then they'll go out to abandoned dunes or whatever, stick the putter in a head cover, wake up the next morning and it's orange, and they get pretty pissed off. So I love
dealing with people that like rust.
Of course, everybody on this thread and probably the people listening to it love a nice patina. Joe Blow, who plays 15 times a year and leaves his wet putter in his head cover at the country club. Not so much. So I love carbon, and we'll experiment with that for sure. The reason we use aluminum so much, particularly with the mallets, is because our whole thing is moving the CG around, being able to manipulate the CG per lie angle, per swing weight, per length, per grip, per everything. All of these things factor into how we balance the putter. Aluminum being so light gives us maximum flexibility with which to do that.
Sure.
We'll probably start experimenting with some carbon fiber. To do much the same, where it gives us the headroom to be able to move the CG around a little bit. I would love to start messing with titanium just because I think it would be cool to make a titanium putter, but just so expensive. I mean, it's just so difficult to machine, and the material's expensive. It's a lot of time, and so and we talked about it one time, and you know, you have to think about like, well, like we're very committed to no BS, you know, like we're not going to bullshit customers, and we're not going to, you know, start to tell people that materials or this or that does things that it's not going to do. So we were talking about titanium. We were like, okay, well, what's the story? What's better about titanium? Nobody could come up with an answer other than that it was really cool to use titanium. So
It's a great
so we
PR
passed on,
segment.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I did have a question come through. Oh,
with inserts, you were asking about inserts, like the, you know, the Oz. There's no question one of the biggest, you know, complaints that we get about our stuff is ball speed, and that's for two reasons. Number one, the groove pattern that we usually use. Number two, three reasons. Number two, aluminum is pretty soft. It's not a terribly firm material, so the, you know, deflection isn't quite as hard. And then three, the center of gravity's relationship with the face has a big impact. So the closer the CG is to the face, the faster the ball comes off. And so that's why with like our biggest one, the DF 2.1, that's the slowest putter we have because the CG is so far behind the face. So we made the Oz with the specific intent of solving for that issue, and we, you know, offer that stainless insert, and that was kind of a double whammy. So we had the stainless insert, and we moved the CG closer to the face than any other mallets that we've made so far. It's been a hit, and people are really stoked, and it's solving the problem that a lot of people had. So people are like, when's the DF3i coming out, and when's the 2.1i coming out, and all that. And it's just it's very difficult to explain the engineering feat that adding that much weight to the front of the putter is, while still allowing us to balance at 28 to 48 inches and 63 degrees to 79.5 degrees. It's really hard. So it'll be a minute before we have those options, but the demand is clear. The customers have spoken, and we'll do it. It's just a matter of, you know, how much time it's going to take.
Gotcha.
How much weight difference is going to be between a carbon DF2 and an aluminum? Have you guys looked at that?
Oh, a carbon DF2 is a non-starter. I mean, that would be 500 grams. I mean, yeah, it's not possible.
Not possible.
No, and none of the mallet putters that you see are just billet, you know, like a Spider or a 2-ball.
Oh no, none of them are.
That's cast steel.
Very rare.
Yeah.
So yes, it's steel, but it's cast, so it's much more porous. Like there's a lot of air in the material itself that enables it to be so light. And then a lot of them are hollow. You know, like I don't think I'm sure you guys know, but the general consumer might not be aware that, like, you unscrew a Spider, like it's hollow in the middle. It's just it's two pieces of cast steel that, you know, are screwed together, and
it's a driver at that point.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Speaking of the drivers, did you guys all see the April Fool's joke from my golf?
Yeah.
I had multiple tour players reach out. I had multiple tour players reach out and ask if they could get one to try.
Bro, you got to keep your head on a swivel on April 1st. Like you can't.
I got bad.
Oh yes, you did.
I got bad.
I'll save his name because I love him dearly. But a broadcaster, one of the broadcasters, texted me this morning asking if anybody in the Masters was going to be using our new driver.
Dude, I like, even to this today, I'm like, I see something I don't believe. I'm like, how many days ago was that posted? Because I gotta check.
Yeah,
I keep my head on a swivel, man.
Too funny. So you guys are sticking with putters. No desire to go to anything else, correct?
No, I definitely have a desire. I would love to do it, and maybe one day. There's nothing specifically in the works. I do have, you know, certain technologies that I've seen out there that only we could do. And that's one of the cool things that, you know, our brand has established is, like, if we do get into other products, you know, the confines of palatability of the consumer drive most manufacturers. You know, it's like they might have this incredible technology, but if it looks too weird, they're just not going to do it. Look at square drivers, right? Like, there was merit to that technology. Those things were stable as shit, and they were really, really good golf clubs. And they just took so much shit because the Callaway customer was used to a nice pear-shaped driver, and they were upset that, there was a divergence from that. Whereas with l.a.b, people are expecting us to do weird shit. So if there's technology out there that works, I think that we've built the consumer trust that we're not going to put something out there just for the sake of put something out there. We're gonna make sure that it works and have the science and the physics to support that claim. So yeah, one day, but not anytime.
That's nice though. That's nice though that if they bring you something and you go, what the fuck? Let's do it.
Right.
Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. If a major manufacturer puts it out there, like, they're just looking for marketing and looking for clicks and looking at all this stuff. Whereas if l.a.b does it, it's like, might be worth it.
Well, that's very interesting, right? Because you've bred yourself to more creativity. You can be more creative and take more risk because you've built a base to where they expect something new out of you, and other manufacturers aren't going to do that.
No, you can't make anything great without taking risk, and the numbers, like we talked about before, these companies, are run by folks that are risk averse. That's their whole job, is to just
100%
steady the ship. And then I always think it's so funny when people talk shit about the way that our stuff looks, because like, name a single iconic golf product that has ever entered the market not as the ugliest thing that anybody had ever seen. When the Ping Answer came around, it was just like l.a.b. He stood on the side of putting greens for 2 years with people saying, I would sooner 3-putt 15 times before I would put that ugly thing in my bag. Fast forward 60 years, it's the standard of beauty. The Big Bertha came out. God knows how many people were saying, what is that god-awful monstrosity? It's a gimmick. I hate it. Take it away from me.
Yep.
And it gave birth to the modern driver. So, people, I get it. I get why people are afraid to, put themselves out there like that, because you have to deal with the, idiots like Matt talking shit online and getting a million views.
Shots fired. Okay. Couple questions.
Shoot.
For people that are buying l.a.b putters used, yard sales, trade-in stores, eBay, that they weren't fit to it and they're gaming it, what tell them what they need to do?
Unfortunately, because of the way that we manufacture them and because of the nature of the technology, there isn't much you can do retroactively without sending it back to us. The lie angles can't be adjusted no matter what. We bore the lie right into the head, and so it's not like bending a spud or something like that. But I tell people not to overthink it. Like if you lay the putter down and it sits flush on the ground without a fight, you're fine. Like, if you aim it good and you're not like forcing yourself to raise or lower your hands in order to get the putter to sit flush, get it. See if it works. If you get it and it works kind of, but you feel like there's something missing, go do the remote fitting and see, how different your spec might be. And if it's vastly different than the one you have, throw that one up on eBay, check out our outlet store, check out eBay or whatever, and you'll find one in your spec, so you don't have to go drop $650 on a new one, until you figure it out. But I think that, and I've said this before in other podcasts and stuff, I think that a lot of modern putter fitting is a little over complicating. For us, kind of comfort is king. Like most of modern putter fitting is about determining the torque profile, right? Should you have toe hang? Should you be face balance? How much toe hang should you have? All that. Well, I think a lot of that narrative is kind of BS. And B, we only make one torque profile. So that part of it's already, fit. If you're coming to try out a l.a.b, you already know, what the torque profile is. So then it's about choosing a shape that you like looking at or gives you confidence or whatever. And then after that, our whole fitting philosophy is comfort is king. That's it. Like we just want you comfortable. And one of the things I'm so proud of that we do is like everybody has somebody that they play with that's got the toe or the heel, way in the air, that there's a way that they want to stand over the putter that a stock putter simply doesn't accommodate. And we do anything, a 63-degree putter, if you've ever grabbed one, is psychotically flat. And
Very.
like it would just feel so crazy to you to hold on to that thing. And those are the happiest customers we have. Those are the guys that that really just start to have incredible results because they can finally just stand over the putter the way that they want to stand over the putter. I'll try and cruise through this story really quickly, but there's a course up in Bend called Broken Top, and I got a call from the pro. This is years ago. This is when we kind of were first starting out, and the guy said, I've got this member who's just an absolute golf tragic. He just loves the game. He plays every day. He's in his mid-70s. And I've given him God knows how many putting lessons. I've bent his, he had a ping putter. He's like, I've bent it as flat as I'm comfortable bending it without it breaking. He's still got the toe of the putter 2 inches in the air. Like, it's just, I heard that you guys can make anything. So we go up and we fit him, and the dude he actually came out to 59 degrees, which is,
whoa,
which at the time we only had the DF 2.1, and the shafting platform on it was smaller than it is now, or shallower than it is now. So there wasn't enough room for us to go into that angle and have enough material for the shaft to hold on to. So I was like, I think the best we can do is 61 degrees. And so we made him a putter at 61 degrees. Dude had never broken 90 in his entire life, and he broke 84 times that summer. And
wow.
And like, what other putter could that guy use? Like, it was so cool. It was so cool to be able to do that. And look, he doesn't go to putting. He doesn't get putting lessons anymore. Like, not because they didn't work, but because, like, if that's how he wanted to stand, there was no instructor in the world that was going to be like, okay, let's work with that. They change his grip, and they change this, and they try and get him to do what isn't comfortable. And so, putting in a lot of ways ain't that freaking hard, man. We're just trying to roll a ball into a hole, and one of the real, easy ways to make that happen is to be comfortable when you're standing over the ball.
Yep. Would agree with that 100%. Okay, so the guys on tour, how are they getting fit? What are you directly working with them? Are you having them stand in the doorway and do that? Is that?
Yeah, a lot of times. I mean, for the most part, they know what lie they're normally comfortable with. What a lot of the tour players don't account for is how flat the sole of our putter is. So they're used to a little bit of camber. So, occasionally we'll get a tour player that says, I've always used 70 degrees, so make me a 70. And then I'll go check out some video to see if they're actually setting it up at 70, which is, most of the time probably, but there's plenty of times when that's not the case. And so we'll take a stab in the dark. We absolutely do remote fittings for pros all the time. And it's incredibly accurate, and especially with them, because they know exactly how they want to stand and how they do what they do. So, but yeah, we do remote fittings, and or we just kind of hear what they have to say. We also, we try to, assuming they're open to it and don't want to get, kind of overcomplicated, we'll send them a bunch of shit, and they can, figure out what lays
works
down the best. And yeah, the trickiest thing with tour pros is usually finding the appropriate cocktail for shaft lean and press grip, and then swing weight. The swing weights that those guys use are generally quite a bit lighter than the general public would like, and then swing weight with our stuff is a bit more complicated than just adding weight to the handle or whatever. We have to do some fancy stuff in there, but besides that, it's really not different than you or me. We obviously just take a little bit more time with them and go back and forth a few more times. And one of the ways that we hope to innovate fitting is, like, the biggest flaw, and it's a fatal flaw in putter fitting, is what happens 2 weeks later. Like, you go into these fittings and they spit out a spec, and that spec is based on how you were putting that day and how you were seeing putts that day on a straight 10-foot putt with some dude sitting there judging you with generally a 70-gram clip on your shaft, telling you information that you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And then you get your putter, and it works great because everybody's new putter always works great on a honeymoon. but what happens 2 weeks later? And then, so with the tour guys, obviously we have the opportunity to rectify what happens 2 weeks later. And they, as long as they're open and communicative and give us the feedback, we can, dial it in perfect. And we try to do the same for our customers to the extent possible.
So you
hang on, Joe.
on that.
Joe, one sec. Hang on 1 sec. We
he
just
always
had
cuts
Steven.
me off.
I know. That's my job. That's my job. Steven Jackson just hopped in the chat on Instagram. Sam, I would like you to give a warm, heartfelt thank you to Mr. Jackson. He has, I think, 14 lab putters.
Jesus.
If you were on that app where you like ask for people to say happy birthday to you, I forget the name of the app. Like he's one of your customers for sure.
Yes. So he is probably your leading customer in the Nevada region. He's a huge fan of yours. Loves the putters. He's a buddy of ours, and so he's in the chat.
Steven?
So
I appreciate you, my friend. Matt put me in touch with Mr. Steven after this podcast.
absolutely,
He bought the green Oz. He bought the
Blue
regular
Oz,
It's like
custom Oz.
every week.
Did he get the Master Special release this morning?
I'm sure he
Probably
did.
got it.
I'm sure.
I'm sure he did.
They went pretty
Right?
quick. It went about 28 minutes. I think they were gone.
He said,
He
"My
was
guy's
probably up
Sam."
right when it loaded.
Yeah, he's
a fiend. He's a fiend. Yeah,
he is a fiend.
He's
All
the
right,
homie.
Joe,
He was at Bandon with us.
All right,
last
Joe. What
year.
were you gonna say?
I forgot.
You forgot?
Yeah. See, that's why I said
So,
you can't go.
you mentioned bands. You said you've done the Solstice thing a few times. Is band an annual?
We try.
Try, but
So
The next time you do it, like, let's do a thing. Let's give you guys the big tour. Let's get some cameras going. We'll put it on your podcast. I would love to host you guys.
I tried to get these guys to go to Emerald Valley
yeah.
when we went in August, but they wanted to go to Bar Run instead. And
Bar
That was
Run's
a
sick.
big mistake.
Oh, Bar
Thank
Run's
you.
sick though.
It's cool, but it's not Emerald Valley.
You don't like Dan Hickson? You don't like Dan? You don't like
I
Dan
love Dan
Hickson?
Hickson, and I play with his
There you
brother all the time. I play with his brother all the time. Dan's an incredible designer. That was just a substandard piece of property I had to work with. And to his credit, he did an incredible job. I love Bar Run.
It's a fun course.
I'll tell you a quick story about Bar Run. So, what's the name of the hole that he mimicked with the concrete wall?
Oh, you're
Prestwick.
Yeah, Prestwick.
No, it's not Prestwick. It's North Barrick, but there's the name of the name of the hole is.
I forget. Fuck. See.
Anyway,
shit I love. Let's
first
figure it
time.
out.
I played that hole the first time, and I was like, I heard the story that it was like mimicking some hole in Scotland. I'm like, this is some seriously stupid shit. What the fuck is concrete wall doing in the middle of this golf course? And then I played North Barrick last summer, and I was like, that hole's badass, and Dan Hickson's the man.
Yeah.
Place is super, super cool. Well, anyway, yeah, definitely come down to Bandon or come to Emerald when you guys come through next. We'll take you out and have a good time.
Yeah, I was my buddy Andrew and I. We did it twice, and I did it once with Joe. We tried to get on the list for like 5 years. Finally got on the list. We played it once. We got in the second time, and then they changed it to, okay, if you're grandfathered in, no more, because they wanted to open. And I got it. I understood. They want to have more people experience it instead of the same.
It's called the pit. The pit.
The same people every year.
Pit hole. That's right.
And then so Joe and I got in on not the lottery, but just signing up. When it sold out in 12 minutes. And so then we did it, and then we try to go every year and a half. But now that they got this lottery thing, that it's crazy.
It's tough. Well, the invite is open, and I would love to host you guys. That would be awesome.
I want these guys to play Emerald Valley so bad because it is such a fun golf course. Well, Todd Haas,
you're gonna have to book. You're gonna have to book Bandon for us. You gotta figure out a way.
Well,
I'm down.
I can get you guys some time.
Well, so we're planning on coming in January 26th. So
January.
We do a birthday trip every year. So
very cold. That's not a fun time to play Emerald Valley either.
It's San Diego, bro. San Diego.
San Diego. So you know a friend of ours, Todd Haas. He's out there in Eugene.
Todd.
And you know Ryan Hardenbrook?
I'm sure. I'm not great with names.
Okay, Ryan. He used to be in Eugene area.
Yeah.
Cigar Don, the Cigar Don.
Yeah. Ryan and I actually started this podcast way back 5 years ago. It was me and him that started this. So. But yeah, we love that area. I love that. I love playing golf up there. So we'll
Do you want to
make
know?
sure.
You want to know how I met Todd?
How?
We
Yes.
we were. I don't even know how the sale came about, but we met in a Toyota car dealership parking lot because I was selling him some hybrids long before I had anything to do with the golf business. And then fast forward, probably 5 years, we end up playing together. I think I just ran into his group or something like that, and we played a game. He said he was an 8 handicap, and like I'm making this up, but I think he might have shot. I think we hooked up like on the 3rd hole or something like that, and I think he might have shot 3 over for the round. And he was saying he was an 8. I'm like, you're a fucking sandbagger. This is bullshit.
Fucking Todd. Fucking Todd.
And so then at the end of the round, like we're exchanging numbers, and I put him in my phone as Todd Asian 8. And then when I was like, and then so I put that in as the name, and then when I put in the number, it popped up that I already had the contact, and I looked through the text and I realized that he was the dude I'd sold those hybrids to, and we both like knew that he was like somebody that I recognized.
That's hilarious.
Funny.
But then I texted him to fill in for us for league one night, and he proved that indeed he is an 8 handicap.
Love that man. I have some fun conversations with him.
Good dude.
All right, Joe, let's do the Q&A. We got a bunch of questions, and then we'll do the giveaway. We got here. I'll show everybody. We got 109 names in the giveaway. So
some of these I think you kind of generally answered, but someone asked, "What do you do for QC? Is there a tour issue?"
That's a great question. So. Total full disclosure. The components are all the same for the tour as they would be for anybody else. Occasionally we will do some fancy drilling and some things like that for, very, very specific shaft leans or very specific lie angles. But other than that, it's the same product. And to that end, about 3 months ago, our president, Robert Johnson, floated the idea, we're all fucking golf fans, and most of us were just consumers not that many years ago, and we love the Circle T shit, and so we were like, oh sweet, let's put a Lab tour stamp on our stuff, and we were doing it for a minute, only if it was going out to a tour pro, and then our president Robert was like, is it tour issue though? Is it actually anything different? And so we actually killed it. We don't put any tour markings on any putters anymore because there's no need. It's the same stuff, and it just seems silly to like give somebody an opportunity to sell it on eBay for $1,500.
Yeah,
because it, is the same thing. Our QC process is nuts. There's, one of the things that we do that other companies don't are all these custom options. The reason that companies don't do these other options is all the custom options is because they are a massive pain in the ass. Fortunately for us, it's all we know. We've always manufactured putters with 15 different options for everything: sightline, shaft, lean, lie, loft, different grips, different everything. And so there's, with that many options, there's a lot to screw up. So QC, so a single putter is going to touch anywhere from 8 to 10 hands. And there's effectively a QC checkpoint at each one of those hands. And when the putter is absolutely complete, it then goes through the QC gauntlet, which is a group of, these days, I think probably close to 12 plus people whose only jobs is to go through every single spec on the putter, make sure that we got all the options, sorted out, and then all the regular stuff. They hit it for sound. They inspect it literally with a magnifying glass to make sure we don't have blemishes on there. They check grips and we screw up, and there's no question. But we stand by. If we do screw up, we try to make it right. It's a hard job these folks have. Very recently, so you guys know about this Facebook page, the Lab Rats Facebook page. So that's not us. That's somebody else started that. It's got about 30,000 members, and these are like full on Lab fans. It is a blessing because of the real-time feedback that we get. It's incredible. I mean, these guys literally, like when we have special releases and they'll see a glitch in the website, we know about it like that because, you know, somebody's monitoring that page. It's really, really good. The downside of it is that when we screw up, somebody takes
People
a picture.
know.
Everybody knows about it.
So, so you know, we had a couple of crooked grips grow out, and you know, and then the 30,000 members are all like, I don't know, I think it's crooked.
Yeah.
And you know,
Zooming in.
We do the best we can. You know, I'm sure that by the end of an 8-hour shift, the same person looking at the same type of putter, you know, for 8 hours straight, you know, I know it gets tough, and we do our best to kind of keep their experience varied so that they don't get burnt out. But we're very, very proud of our QC process.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
let me
I mean,
go
it's
to
tough. People get tired.
Here's a YouTube
People get
question from our friend Julian. I used to fit your putters at Club Champion here in Vegas. How did you get connected with Nick Sherburne?
Yeah, Nick's the CEO at Club Champion, and it's a pretty decent story, honestly. So when I first partnered with Bill, I grew up in Chicago, and out here in Oregon, there's not a lot of golf courses. There's, you know, it's actually one of the lowest rounds per state of any state in the country. Fourth, I think, in 2023, and that includes Bandon. So nobody really golfs out here, and we needed to open up some accounts. So I posted up at my folks' place for about a month and a half because there's so much golf in Chicago. There's a ton of golf courses, a ton of businesses, a ton of golf activity, and including Club Champion. So I was opening up accounts, and then our, you know, big sort of end of the trip thing was we were going to go, you know, pitch Nick Sherburne on the putter, and this is very early summer 2018. And I met with Nick, and, you know, it went really well. He liked the putter. The other guys liked the putter, and they were, you know, going to bring it in. And then he was like, "Cool. So yeah, just send us the demos." And we're like, "What do you mean send you the demos? You're not going to buy the demos?" Like, no, we don't buy the demos, bro. And I was like,
Yeah.
And at the time,
How many stores?
Exactly. And we literally couldn't afford to, you know, to put them in there, and a few other issues with our operation. And so I was bummed, you know, because I thought, you know, when I left there, I thought we had locked down a deal, and I was stoked. And then when I you know, a few weeks later, I found out it wasn't going to go through. And I think it was like, gosh, 2+ years later, that ultimately we were in a position where we could, you know, front the demos to all the stores. And at that time we had multiple models, so it was a big deal. And they're you know, one of our best customers for sure. And you know, they're a cool business. It's custom fitting but accessible, you know. And it's definitely a little bit expensive, but it's less expensive than a lot of the really hoity-toity kind of, you know, upscale fitters and stuff. And yeah, it's been good.
All right.
I got like 7 questions.
Okay.
Shoot.
So let's try and bang these out. And then I did get a question from Miles, which I think would be decent at the end.
Yep.
We had somebody comment that they were out at it's a buddy from Oregon in Bend, the homie Josh. Yeah. He said he saw some junior players playing lab golf putters, and somebody before he even commented said, "Well, you make a junior model, or are those guys just playing cut down, or, you know, how does that work?"
Yeah, we don't have like a junior specific thing. I mean, as far as we're concerned, every putter is and if you enter the custom portal, every putter is a custom, and it doesn't matter how short or tall you are, we can make it.
Okay.
What we do for juniors sometimes, you know, how many listeners you generally get? I don't want to advertise this too loudly.
A million easily.
37.
We tell people to email the outlet store, and a lot of times we'll get, you know, blemed parts and scratched shafts or scratched heads and stuff, where you can get your kid a putter for, you know, less than the custom price of a new lab, and that's a good way to go. So yeah, we do make them and we swing weight them appropriately, and we do all the stuff.
Okay.
Steven Jackson's calling all the outlet stores tomorrow.
So, just to comment on that, because I was actually going to ask about juniors, because I got a junior, and I will admit he does want a lab putter.
I was gonna say this earlier too, because I'm like, just because I like a blade putter doesn't mean my son has to like a
for
blade
sure.
putter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he
we
does
make
want
a blade,
lab putter,
bro.
Yeah. Oh, I know about the blade. I know about the blade.
So let's say he did get a lab putter, and as he grows taller and whatever, his fit's going to change. Do you adjust the putters? You send them in and you refit like every?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, it depends upon like which areas grow and stuff like that, and also depending upon the model. Like a lot of times the kids end up pretty flat. They're short and their hands are low, and whatever. And so if the lie angle changes, it's a new putter. We do our best, man. We love helping out the juniors to the best we can. We'll work with you. Maybe you got to hawk it on eBay to get the new one going, and then we do our best to make it work. And fact that there's 2 questions about juniors here probably means I got to bring it up to the next exec meeting and figure out what we might be able to do for juniors to make it a little easier to get in.
I got 2 kids. Cool. I got 2 kids. This one might be a little bit of a jab. So somebody asked, what's the current build time, and why are the influencers of the world getting the putters before people that have already ordered them? At least that's how people feel.
This is so funny. The influencers of the world get the putters before you do because they're the ones selling our product for us. Obviously, we need them. They're the people out there telling the story. We need to advertise the product. We don't have big time marketing budgets like these companies that sell drivers and golf balls and all the other stuff. We sell putters and putters only. And despite what people might think, given the price of our putters, we actually don't have a very big margin. Our putters are incredibly expensive to make. We do the best that we can to keep the price down. And so, we got to get the word out. And so, we seed the influencers with the putters. And to be clear, we're talking about 25 putters. We're talking about probably 25 putters that, go out a bit in advance. And it's also, they go out not just to get them in their hands for advertising and for all that stuff. Those guys are the ones giving us the feedback. Like we do when we're releasing a product, like we test the whole system. It's not just the putter, but like the ordering process and the way that it's subtracting from inventory and the whole back end, everything. Like, so there's, tour players, influencers, VIPs, board members, investors, all these people. There's a giant group of, say, a little over 100 that generally kind of get the first of each thing that help to make it so that we can test the entire process, test the entire putter before it's, released to the general public. Lead times currently, I think are about 6 weeks. One of the, we fuck it up every year, man. We have our budget meetings in October, November, and try to forecast the best we can. And every year I go in there and I'm like, guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be like this. And then I have to. The last few years they believe me, and then the last few years I've been wrong. And it's just, so many more than we thought. The retail stores in particular this year are what's hammering us. They're just going so quickly at the retail locations, and keeping up with those guys is really, really hard. So for a minute there, we actually had a meeting about this today. For a minute, we separated the lead times. So we were doing, this lead time for direct to consumer people and this lead time for wholesalers. And then the wholesalers got super pissed off that the D2C folks were getting them pissed, or, so, you end up pissing somebody off no matter what you do. So we're doing our best. We had forecast and designed a production line to accommodate our forecast, which was off by about 100%. And so we're now, hiring into that and training, but like training on building our stuff is not just hire some club builder off the street. Like it's a process, it's fully 3 months before you're actually capable of properly balancing putters, and you got to go through the whole, process and everything. So it takes a minute. I'm absolutely confident by the time, summer rolls around, we're going to be down to, 2 to 4 weeks like we used to.
Okay.
Hang on,
I have
hang on. Rob
always
chimed in.
like I told you, always cuts me off.
Hey, we're gonna go back and forth here. He says, "How much more technology or engineering does Lab have to explore? Keep refining existing models or continue to look for new designs? What does the future hold?" I think you talked a little bit about that with different materials. But if you wanted to pinpoint anything on that,
yeah, I think that I used to say for a long time, I used to say Lab was in its infancy. I would definitely say it's in its adolescence now. It's an unruly teenager. There's absolutely potential for what we can do, from whether it's adjustability, at home customizations that you can make is an area in which I'd like to move into. I'd love for them to be more modular so that people can try more things without having to buy a whole new putter every time they want to try a new face or a new lean or a new lie or anything like that. One of the areas that I personally struggle with, like sort of the progress and the advancement of what is possible with our tech. And I actually had a really couple long conversations with the guy who I guess Matt, David Fritsch from Goodwood.
Goodwood,
yeah, and like, I don't know if my PR teams would be mad at me for saying this. Like, I accept that Lab might, that our specific torque profile might not be best for everyone. Mostly what I see when people are struggling with it, give me 10 minutes with them and they aren't going to struggle with it anymore. I think it's, sometimes it's just hard to kind of shake off, the torque hangover. Yeah, old feels and all the stuff. But I know a couple of good players, who have given me the time and, tried all the stuff and it didn't work for. And so I would love to find a testing and fitting protocol that would accommodate the fluidity that is people's relationships with their putters, like that would accommodate the reality that one day we show up and it feels this way and the next day we show up that way. What does that actually look like?
We're schizophrenic mental heads.
Yeah. What's that?
I said we're schizophrenic mental psychotics,
Yippee boys.
Yeah, I mean, and not even like, like I'm not yippee, but I'm fucking chaotic, like every day I have a, experience something new, on the green, and I want to see if there's something that can accentuate that, new experience or avoid that new experience if it wasn't pleasant. And I would love it if my putter could just do that without having to go into the build room to get a whole new putter.
I mean, people don't change their batteries in their putters, and maybe we need a battery powered putter, maybe that'll help. Who knows? Change the putter juice. Who knows?
Solar, Joe. It's solar.
Yeah. Throw a solar panel on top.
What's the next question, Joe?
I would love the fucking post that Matt would make about us, putting out a
solar fuck. People would call him an even older man. He's like, you're cooked, old man.
My lawn.
I have a couple personal questions after this one, but people wanted to get a little personal with you. So they asked, do you have any hobbies outside of golf? And do you play different lies on your putters?
Those are all good questions. Do I have any hobbies outside of golf? No. If I'm totally honest, I really don't. I have things that I like to do. I love playing chess, and it's tough to get in enough chess time. I enjoy playing chess. I've got a partner she is just the coolest woman on planet Earth, and whenever I can, I just like hanging out with her. She's a shrink and brilliant, and so listening to her talk is pretty much a pleasing hobby of mine. I got a couple kids too, 17 and 15. So spend time with them when I can. But sometimes I wish I had another hobby. But no, I'm
it's hard. It's hard when you're in golf, man. It really is hard. It grabs you.
All golf all the time. And then what was the other half of that question? Oh yeah, different
lie angles on your putters.
Yeah, so my if I was going to go play a tournament tomorrow, I'm grabbing a 35-inch 67-degree putter. We prototype at 69 generally, and we just built this beautiful fitting studio. I can't wait to show people pictures of it. 4,500 square foot putting green indoors, and there's like a bazillion, virtually every combination of length, lie, shaft, weight, and everything that you could think of. And so I'm in there all the time and messing around with anyone. I can putt with anything. I putt, and like statistically, I'm not really that much better putting with my preferred spec than with the other stuff. I don't know that I've ever played around with anything over 72. But, I spend a lot of time looking at people's strokes, and like one of my favorite things to do in my job is to mimic strokes. And it helps me learn. And so when I see somebody being successful, even though my body type might not be the same, and the, relationship with my elbows, arms, shoulders, all that kind of stuff might be a little different, I still do my best to try and just get inside so I can understand, what somebody's putting experience is like, because it helps me be a better fitter and and all that. So, and it's frankly a detriment to my putting that I'm always fucking around with stuff, and especially in the winter, like when we're prototyping a lot and there isn't real golf to be played, I'll end up like right now, like this period, April is where I'm like, fuck, how do I do it again? Like, what's my actual stroke way? I don't even remember anymore. So I'll spend most of May reacquainting myself with how I want to putt. But for the most part, I try to keep my gamers right around 67, 68, depending upon the model and some other factors.
Yeah. My other personal question is since you are such a golf nerd, golf freak, golf lover, what are some of your favorite brands outside of the major manufacturers, or brands that people can find in a store like mine? Like I love Cousin Clubs. I love, Olsen. Like, are there any up and coming brands that you love and you see that they are doing some awesome stuff that people don't know about?
Yeah. Guy I've had a few conversations with recently who I really like, and he actually recently made a torqueless. He calls it torqueless Skylar, I think is what it's called. It's Jamie Coughlin. And I mean, the dude makes beautiful stuff, and it's really interesting stuff. And I actually recently just got a set of irons from him specifically for Bandon. I've always had it in my head that I would play better at Bandon with 8 clubs. And so I had him make me kind of a half set where the irons are separated.
The ghost.
It's got to, and he was very sensitive to the fact that I'm a lab guy. He's like, "Do you mind if I just have like a tiny little ghost, like in the corner?" I'm like, yeah, go nuts, dude. So, his irons are beautiful. I think they're Kyoei heads, and I think but he puts his own, kind of spin on them and grinds them a particular way, and so they're all separated by 6 degrees, and those are great. Who else do I love? I wasn't really a businessman before all this happened, and now that I'm kind of more business minded. I appreciate some of the business brands. Like there's a dude actually in your neck of the woods. I think he's in Vegas, who's fucking brilliant, and he's buying up the naming rights to like every nostalgic brand from the 90s. So I think he owns Zebra, Snake Eyes, McGregor.
Yes.
Yeah, they're in Henderson.
And it's good stuff. Like he sent me a set of those McGregor irons. They're freaking great.
They look fantastic.
They look fantastic. They feel really good. I was very impressed. So I kind of liked his stuff.
So glad you didn't say Matt Plummer.
What's that?
I said, I'm so glad you didn't say our friend Matt Plummer. As a brilliant guy in Vegas is doing something amazing.
And then there's, I really appreciate technology. There's a guy in Michigan named Bruce Sizemore, and Bruce is worth Googling. I mean, he effectively invented Superstroke and any number of other patents out there that he's got his name on. And he's got a set of irons that, Bruce, if you're listening, you're welcome and I'm sorry all at the same time. They are 50% fucking mind-blowing. Like, they're so brilliant in the way that they were designed and solved for so many issues with irons, and then they're also 50% completely underdeveloped and not horribly playable. But the Mod 1 irons that More Golf makes are just brilliant in the way that he puts those together. You mentioned JP earlier. I mean, that's some really cool stuff.
Brilliant guy.
He's brilliant. I'm bummed to hear that, JP, I think, is no longer a thing. He I think is working for somebody else now. The JP brand, I think, is still owned by somebody in Korea. But those wedges were absolutely gorgeous. I personally had some issues using his technology with the, uber leading edge bounce for the lob wedge, but for everything else, for full swings, best ball flight I've ever seen out of a wedge. There's another guy, Terry Kaler, who he's the fellow who brought Ben Hogan kind of back from the dead and was the one that
Scratch what was his? Yeah, Edison. But before that, it was I have
score,
some too.
Score wedges. Yeah,
score wedges.
Everything
was loft based.
Yeah, exactly. He did score, and
he had a great blog for a long time too. He's an incredible writer,
dude. He is a really, really, really wise man. He's super smart. We've had a lot of great conversations. I like Terry a lot. But yeah, Edison wedges is his brand now, and they're absolutely worth checking out. I think a lot of the major manufacturers caught on to what he was doing, and they're trying to mimic it, but haven't done so as well. But he's legitimately developed a wedge that launches lower, spins more, and lands at a more vertical landing angle, which is kind of the holy grail of what you're looking for
those score wedges. Are good.
Score wedges were great. I mean, there's so many products out there that, like, I'm not an inventor. I'm not I'm good at product development. I'm good at helping to develop products that, are ultimately going to be palatable by the general consumer. But, there's a lot of great products out there that never made it to the mainstream just because they weren't marketed properly.
I'm a somewhat newer golfer, and I love to see the rebranding of older brands. Like you mentioned, McGregor, and Powerbuilt is doing some of the dopest irons I've seen.
Totally.
Like, I mean, those things are clean. You know what I mean? Like, sick.
Things are rad.
So, and I do that. Like, I have a persimmon, and I play it when it's not tournament time. But it's just it's good to be a golf nerd and to really appreciate the
Joe's
game.
our resident soul golfer. He doesn't play for score. He plays for the moments.
Love it.
That's right.
Love it.
But he also refuses to take a 60-degree out of the bag when he plays badminton.
No, I will. When they go low, we go high. When they go low, we go high. That's me, man.
And then I got to call out my new buddy that I mentioned before, David from Goodwood. He made a mallet shape that kind of in that low torque category that I thought was really, really cool looking.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody asked, let's see, where's that? What % of the Masters field are gaming labs?
I don't know how many people are in the Masters, but somebody actually asked me just a moment ago. I believe we've got Lucas Glover, Ben On, JJ Spawn, Michael Kim, Adam Scott, Charles Schwartzel, Will Zalatoris, and Johnny Vegas, and maybe Mike Weir. I know Mike Weir was using. He's a contender this year. Mark my words.
Yeah. No.
He's really old and wasn't long to begin with. But
yeah, Bernard said the same thing. It's why his last Masters is this one. He said, "I just can't play at 7,600 yards anymore."
It's ridiculous. But no, Mike's a brilliant dude. He's a really, really great guy, and he's been on and off with our stuff for a few years now. So that's the roster. I don't know what percentage that is, but we've got a few. I was bummed that Phil's not using it right now. I was really hoping it might make it into the bag because he's rest of his game is really rounding into shape. He's actually been playing some kick-ass golf. I think he's actually going to be a relevant contender this year, but he has been absolutely filling it up with that old 8802 of his, or whatever it's called. Yeah.
That thing.
That company with that funny swirl.
He's got the hosel on that thing looks like it's been ran over by a semi truck. It's hilarious.
Dude, he's so awesome. He is the coolest guy. I mean, working with him, like most of the time I'm so in the weeds on just the realities of running a business that I'm not complaining, but like it's not fun stuff, I mean, it's hard, just 200 employees and outward facing stuff, inward facing stuff. It's a bit of a grind, and sometimes I forget to stop and take a look around and see how cool all this shit is. And anytime Phil calls or texts or anything, it's very easy to remember how amazing this is. Because if you'd have told me 7 years ago I'd have Phil Mickelson's cell phone and him texting me randomly about stupid stuff,
right? How cool is
or
that?
whatever, it's the coolest. And he has the highest golf IQ of any person on the planet, period. And it's not hype, it's not talk. Like, the dude just sees and knows shit that nobody on the planet sees or knows.
That one video of him talking with Bones about the grass, it's wet, it's at this angle, the sun's over here.
That was a Faraday, yeah. And like, so I was out, I was in San Diego, and we were supposed to play, but he got tied up with something. So I went out with a couple of his buddies, and then he came out. We were at the farms, and he came out, just drove out there just to hang out for a little while and say hi. And I'm like, I had like a 85-yard wedge shot over some water to a pin that had a little slope over here, and then a fall off over here or whatever. And he did the Faraday thing. Like, he just went through it, and he's like, well, here's what you can do with this shot, followed by a 3-minute, soliloquy on, the options here. I'm like, bro, I'm like hoping I don't fucking lay the sod over this thing and hit it in the water. And sure enough, I laid the sod over it and hit it in the water after he told me the 98 other options that did not include hitting it in the water. But he is.
Hey,
he's as nice as can be. Yeah, just a great dude.
That's a great comeback you have now. If you get into one of these, little social media spats, you can just go, "Do you have Phil Mickelson's phone number in your phone?" Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you could have told Matt that, he would have shut the fuck up right there.
There's been times where, like, I've absolutely wanted to leverage, some of the relationships with some of the tour guys, where I've just like been like this close to texting Adam, being like, can you fucking text this motherfucker and just tell me?
Yeah, like, you don't know who you're talking to.
That would be hilarious. Oh, that's so funny.
Awesome.
I completely off story, but I used to work at a car dealership, and Floyd Mayweather came in to pick up his girlfriend, and it was like 4 months out of the Pacquiao fight, the first Pacquiao fight, and a good friend of mine, huge Pacquiao fan, and I'm Vegas big Floyd Mayweather fan, and so I went out, he's standing out there, and I go out and I go, hey, my buddy's a huge Pacquiao fan. If I call him right now, will you talk shit? He's like, get him on the phone. And I was like, yes. And he didn't answer his phone. So I was like,
So the only story, I love this story so much. That's kind of similar. So there's a guy at my club named Wes St. Clair, and Wes is such a special dude. He's a trucker. I think he's 3 or 4 time club champion at Emerald Valley, and you guys have played the course. It's a strong golf course, and in addition to being a strong golf course, it has the most random like deep membership as far as skill is concerned. I mean, we got the Oregon Ducks play out there. At any moment you can pick up a scratch game with a dozen guys. There's really, really good players, and Wes has a super fucked up golf swing and the weirdest short game and the strange technique and this putting stroke where I call it the reverse cigar. So it's like trail hand on top and then lead hand on the bottom.
I do this
like that, and that's how he putts.
Oh,
and the stroke is like, it's not graceful. I mean, it's yippy as fuck, and the dude makes a lot of putts, and he chips it close and he does all the things. So he'd been asking me for a long time, will you make me a maximum upright putter, for a conventional length? I'm like, you're gonna fucking hate it. Like, we can make you a 74, 75. We'll make it, but I promise you're not gonna like a full max, upright putter. And give him the 74, he doesn't quite like it. And then give him the 76, he doesn't quite like it. Then he went back to some other putter he was using, and on and on. Then one day I show up on a Saturday, just looking for a game, and like the putting green in Emerald Valley is pretty big, and I'm on one end of it, and he's all the way on the other end, and there's like 20 people on the green. He's like, "Hey Sam, you looking for a game?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm going to show you why you're a shitty fitter." And I'm like, "Okay." And he had gone behind my back and asked one of the other guys if he, to make him a max upright DF 2.1. So he had a 79, so 33 and a half inch, 79.5 degree DF 2.1.
Oh my God.
It's like goofy ass, cigar grip. And the dude went around in 18 putts. I've never seen it before. I'm sure.
Whoa.
I've never even actually heard of it. He chipped in once. And he two putted once, and the two putt was from easily 50 feet, and he caught a piece of the hole. It was the most ridiculous round of putting I've ever seen in my entire life, by far. And then later that evening, I was texting with Brad Faxon about something else, and I said, I texted Faxon. I'm just like, by the way, I played with a dude that had 18 putts today. You ever had 18 putts? He's like, I've had 19 a few times, but never 18. What's his name? And I'm like, nobody you'd ever heard of. And he's like, what's his name? Shoot me his number. I'm like, his name's Wes St. Clair. Here's his number. So Brad puts us on a group thread, texts Wes, and Wes is, just this curmudgeon-y old fuck. Like, he's just a bitter, just squatty little trucker guy that's always just talking shit. And it's like, hi Wes, my name's Brad Faxon, generally pretty regarded as a pretty good putter over my career. I've never had 18 putts before. I heard you had 18 putts today. Congratulations. And he's like, well, I missed a lot of greens, thanks. All he had to say was like the greatest putter in the history of the world.
Did he have any idea? Did he have any idea at all?
100%. He just doesn't give a shit. Like, he's just like,
Wow.
He's the greatest dude. I've learned so much from Wes, and I mean, the dude's, I think he's 65 at this point. He kicks my ass half the time from the same tees, and I'm out. He's giving me 50 yards off the tee, and he still mops the floor with me. He's an incredible player.
Dude, awesome. Shout out Wes St. Clair, bro.
The fucking A.
All right, we're at like an hour 40, so people are already commenting like, "Hey, can we do the giveaway, please?" So,
suckers, you had to listen to all this garbage.
Yeah, we're gonna make you wait. So,
learn something today. Get
yourself educated. So Sam has been gracious enough to offer up a lab putter of your choice, and he's going to do.
You were buying it,
right? Yeah. Yeah, no.
Fuck.
No.
It'll get to you somehow. We'll figure it out.
When Jordan Spieth starts rolling a lab, Jeremy will buy it and then we'll send it to you. Sam's going to do the virtual fitting for you. So Sam, to make sure everybody knows that this isn't rigged, we asked somebody to say how many times they would like me to shuffle this. So if you could give me a number and I will shuffle these up that many times.
Me give you a number?
Yep, give me a number between 1 and 10.
Usually 13 is my go-to, but let's go with 7.
7, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, here we go. We're going to spin 3 times. The first one is the winner. As long as they meet all the requirements, they will be chosen. If they don't, then we'll go to 2 and blah, blah, blah. So here we go.
This is so exciting.
So exciting.
Did I win?
Luke
Tonko.
Fuck.
At Luke _TONGCO. All right, that is first. So let me remove that name, and then this real quick. We'll do 2 more just to, like I said, just in case.
It's happened.
It's
What
happened.
are the requirements?
They gotta had to follow the podcast, had to follow you, and leave a comment. So
Got it.
Shyness.
SHAUNINNES.
John Innes, 94. Was he born in 94 or did he graduate in 94? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, those are the 2 things.
I graduated in 91 and Julian's handle is 1990 for our login stuff. And I'm like, dude, that's when you were born, huh? He's like, yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. So that's if the first person does not fulfill. And then lastly, we have
Steven Jackson.
Steven Jackson. Tyler DeMuse. So thank you everybody for that. Thank you, Sam, for doing that.
Yeah.
It is truly
Awesome.
my pleasure.
Awesome.
It is absolutely my pleasure.
Guys,
I'm
throw
going to
their
be
name
honest.
up on here.
As I mentioned when before we actually started the podcast, it's been a pretty fucking rough couple of days with tariff madness and everything else that has ensued since. A little stressful.
Yeah, how's that gonna affect you guys?
Less so than virtually every other manufacturer out there because we're already, make the major components in the United States, but it's still just affecting just a chain reaction of everything. It's just a mess. And but anyway, I was going to say I was in a pretty sour mood when I showed up tonight, and a couple glasses of wine and some lovely conversation and kind gents like yourself. I'm in a much better mood. So thank you guys so much for having me
Awesome.
on.
Love hearing
I
that.
really appreciate it.
Thanks for being
Thank you for coming on.
About the video. I've told these guys, it blew me away that you reached out. Wasn't expecting it, and I'm so glad that we got to have those talks, and that I know a little bit more about you guys. You know a little bit more about me. You know about us.
Yeah.
Had you on the show. Not everything is bad. Not everything is bad. Even though I wrote down some of the comments I was going to ask you about, but I don't even know if I want to get into them because you're in a good mood.
Do it. Yeah, do it. Let's do it.
Okay. Well,
he's an angry old man.
The biggest, and this is why I made that T-shirt. Like the most common comment is just say you can't afford one and move on. And it's like,
yeah,
and it's like, this is what I don't understand. Okay, so the putter that I'm using in the video, along with the shaft combination, is not a cheap putter, and I'm putting on my entire backyard that is a custom putting green. That's not a $25 roll at Lowe's. I can afford a l.a.b putter, you fucks. Jesus Christ. And then one guy said, bro opens and closes the putter face. Can you please let people know that even with a l.a.b putter, your face is gonna open and close?
Nope. Stay square to the arc perfectly the whole time. It's like a gyroscope, man. It's like a fucking heat-seeking missile. With any butter, I appreciate a lot of the blatantly blind support that people give us.
Man. And then this last one was kind of along the same regards. He goes, look, your face opens up on the backswing. The l.a.b stays in the same position.
If you let it. That's the thing. And whereas your putter, if you let it do its own thing, it will act like a drunken snake, like you imitated in that video. But if you let the l.a.b do its thing, yes, in my opinion, the best chance of returning the putter face to square at impact than you do with any kind of jail or Callaway nonsense.
Sam, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're looking forward to the next time we're up in the PNW so we can stop by and check out the facility. I get these fools on Emerald Valley so they can finally understand what an amazing golf course it is. And yeah, much success to you guys. Congrats on all your success, and we can't wait to see what comes next from you.
Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for having an open mind, for having the conversation. And just a shout out to everybody who's was on that thread and is listening to this podcast. Folks, the fucking internet, like, we got to learn how to behave ourselves here. It gets out of hand so quickly. Like, look at this conversation. Look at how lovely this was. We are the same people that at a glance on an internet thread, you would have thought that we were sworn enemies. But let's try to remember, it's just golf.
It's just golf.
Greatest game ever.
I need to remind myself the same thing. It's just golf.
It's just golf. All right, Joe, wrap it up and let's get out of here.
Hey, shout out everybody that tuned in this evening. Chasing Daylight Podcast. We're here every single Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live on YouTube and Instagram. Shout out Sam. I have so much more love for l.a.b and Sam as an individual. Hopefully we get out and play some golf one day. That was awesome, man. That was awesome. We are golf lovers and we continue to love golf, and you should too. And play what works for you, and we'll see you on the greens. Keep hitting them. Later.